You have played a Need for Speed game before, right? It's a racing franchise that started in the early 90s and has some legendary games. You surely remember classics like Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2, and of course Most Wanted. But have you ever wondered what those games were like during the beta development phase? Today we are going to talk a little bit about that, as we will be discussing some fun facts and curiosities about beta content of the Need for Speed games. And seriously, you wouldn't believe in some of these things that have been found about those games. But first, let's talk about our sponsor. Don't want to spend time grinding out glitches in Forza Horizon 6? You guys can get up to 999 million credits in super wheel spins with Mitch, as well as every single car in the game, all delivered to you extremely quickly. They have over 20,000 verified Trustpilot reviews and thousands of personalized vouchers, so be sure to check out my pinned comment to learn more and use the code VEGAS for a discount. Let's talk about a feature that was cut from not just one game, but several of them. Since the PS1 era, most Need for Speed games had split screen mode, as it was practically a must-have in every game back then. Unfortunately, this mode was only available for the console versions. But the curious thing is that in some Need for Speed games, it wasn't removed, just hidden. If you use Cheat Engine to modify Most Wanted's memory data, for example, you will be able to activate this mode, and it works normally. So, why it was removed in the final version remains a mystery. There are several clues linking Need for Speed Shift, developed by Slightly Mad Studios, to previous games developed by EA Black Box, such as Easter eggs featuring the names ROG and Razer in its PSP version, for example. Another aspect is that this specifically version is essentially a continuation of ProStreet, even sharing the same graphics, gameplay, and user interface. But there's one more detail you might not know. The game's name itself, Need for Speed Shift, appears in an image hidden within the files of a beta version of Need for Speed World. It's impossible to know for sure whether this was going to be the name of Need for Speed World, or if it's a working title for another game that Black Box was planning to make. Speaking again of PSP games, did you know that Need for Speed Underground Rivals and Most Wanted used several sound effects in their menus that were slightly edited from the beta or demo versions of their console counterparts? Check this out. This likely happened because while the development team was working on the PSP versions, the console version wasn't finished yet. So when they requested the audio assets from the main team, those audio files were sent over, and in the end, they may have simply forgotten to change them. During the 2004 E3 Expo, an early demo of the PSP game Underground Rivals was presented. It was essentially a tech demo. There are many differences in this video compared to the retail version, since it shows a gameplay with impressive visuals and a level of detail for the PSP, featuring assets that appear to be ported directly from the first Underground for home consoles. Additionally, the game is simply titled Need for Speed Underground, which could mean that at some point, perhaps it was intended to be a direct port of the first game? Who knows? In one of the behind-the-scenes videos included on the bonus disc of the Black Edition of Need for Speed Most Wanted, you can see a physical toy model of a modified Nissan Skyline. The name Razer is clearly written on the toy's license plate. It has never been confirmed why this image appeared in the game's official behind-the-scenes video, though there is a theory that in a very early version of the game, Razer was supposed to drive a Skyline instead of the iconic Mustang. Or perhaps it was just a joke by the developers who pasted the character's name onto a model they already had on hand during the production process. We talked about the Razer Skyline, but now let's discuss the confirmed beta versions of the most iconic car in the entire franchise. Of course, I'm talking about the BMW M3 GTR from Need for Speed Most Wanted. And believe me, it changed a lot during the development. We have plenty of concept art so we can see some of the stages the car went through, from being completely red, then it became red with a completely different vinyls. And this latest version using the same vinyls as the previous one, but in a blue tone slightly darker than the one in the final game. Another interesting fact is that in the PSP version, the BMW that Razer drives has vinyls that are completely different from the console version. Could this have been the official model at some point? Now, let's talk about Need for Speed 2015, a game I've already covered here on the channel, where I show a very early prototype version that, believe it or not, even runs on a PS3. The reboot brought back the urban night racing atmosphere with an extreme level of customization. But here is a fun fact. According to statements by Ben Walk, one of the developers of the reboot, the game was highly considered to be titled Need for Speed Underground 3, but the idea was scrapped because EA felt it would be too risky, especially after the commercial failure of Most Wanted 2012, and using the Underground name would make it harder to sell the project to the public as a complete reboot of the franchise. This curiosity is worthy of another series on the channel, because it's yet another case of stranger things found in games. Did you know that, hidden within the files of the Japanese version of Need for Speed Underground 2, there's a dummy file that's actually a video? And it's not just any video, it's a gameplay literally showing a game's beta build. Unfortunately, the video quality is very poor and it has no audio, but the video shows two Mustang GTs drifting in what appears to be a cut multiplayer team drift game mode. You can also see that debug mode is active, with various information on the screen, and there are even glitchy textures appearing. Cool, right? Have you ever played the 2012 Need for Speed Most Wanted game? Well, it wasn't a bad game, but let's be honest, it didn't deserve the name it was given, right? Since it had nothing to do with the game released in 2005. But what if I say it was supposed to be different? That it should have been the true sequel to the original Most Wanted. Several leaked builds from the game's beta phase make it clear that Criterion originally intended to preserve every aspect of the original Most Wanted. The game even had the piss effect in these prototypes. But I won't elaborate too much on this, because I have something special prepared for you on this topic in the future. So stay tuned in the channel. Did you know there is a connection between Most Wanted 2012 and The Run? It exists in their mobile versions. But you might be wondering, wait, there was never a Need for Speed The Run mobile game. Well, it almost happened, but it was cancelled to make way for the Most Wanted 2012. EA was actively working on a mobile version of The Run to coincide with the console launch. However, the project faced serious internal problems, and as a result, EA decided to cancel the game. But instead of discarding all the technical work already done, the publisher decided to change the scope. The codebase, graphics engine, physics, and mechanics that were being developed for The Run were repurposed, polished, and transformed into Need for Speed Most Wanted Mobile. Although The Run was never officially released on mobile devices, its existence was confirmed by an old trailer. I'm going to talk about a topic I've already covered in one of the videos from the Stranger Things Found in Games series regarding the game Beetle Adventure Racing, released for the Nintendo 64 in 1999. In the original video, I show that it's possible to access a debug mode in the Nintendo 64 game in which it refers to itself as Need for Speed. The game even used the graphics and physics engine from that generation's Need for Speed games, in addition to having a track layout and environments very similar to those in Hot Pursuit. Why didn't it become a game in the franchise? Well, it was probably due to the exclusive partnership with Volkswagen. Since it was, in fact, a game that would focus entirely on the new Beetle, they chose to include that name in the title. In any case, it's strange to think about it, since the following year, Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed was released for PC and PS1, obviously featuring only Porsche cars. Do you know anything else interesting about Need for Speed's beta content? Write your thoughts in the comments. So that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.